And I know that every assignment, obviously, Dr. Machobane, we will encounter challenges.
Sure.
And it wasn't a unique case also on Apostle Molefe when there was contentions and, disagreements with
Sure.
him and Reverend Nicholas Bengu. Well,
Yes.
what took place?
Right.
And how did this affect Apostle Molefe's ministry?
Right. Unfortunately, with the coming of the missionaries from, the West, Europe, and everywhere else, the Assemblies of God, by the way, in its originality, was a conglomeration of various missionary ministries together. It was not a denomination.
Okay.
It was a network of different mission organizations who have assembled together, who have been assembled together by God. That's why they called it an assembling of God.
Wow.
So that's the format it took here in South Africa.
Okay.
But these guys had their own headquarters where they came from, the missionaries, all right? So where they came from. And so when they were functioning, wherever they came from, they then set some rules.
Okay.
And they said, look, as the mission is going on, we need to streamline the work. Meaning, if you are in Johannesburg, you become just the superintendent over Johannesburg.
Okay.
If you are in Pretoria, etc. So all that began to take place. But Molefe felt, no problem. Bengu had an issue with that.
Okay.
Even Molefe did, to say, now what does that mean? It means that my work is no longer my work.
Yeah.
In a way.
Sure.
So I must account. So you set a guy to look after my work, though I'm the one who pioneered it. What does this mean? So they did not see eye to eye with the missionaries.
Okay.
The Bengu group, that includes Molefe and others.
Yes.
And, the missionaries.
Yeah.
But within the Bengu group, we must also understand that they stood as individuals.
Absolutely.
As much as they were recognizing, Bengu as a father of, the Back to God movement, which is what he started.
Yes.
Remember, the Assemblies of God is a network. The Back to God movement is Bengu's brainchild.
Okay.
This is the difference. The Back to God movement was Bengu's own thing, and it was his heart. The Assemblies of God has been there.
Yeah.
So Bengu regarded all the black guys to be part of the Back to God movement.
Okay.
Though that was not necessarily written anyway.
Yeah.
But because the days of apartheid, everything was separated between black and white. So these white missionaries felt Bengu was sidelining them, but they had individual connections with different people.
Okay.
So they were able to see a Molefe to say, but we will still want to go on with you. And Molefe had no problem with that. No, guys, go on with us because, we have no beef. Me and you have no beef with you. But unfortunately, that was not taken kindly, by Bengu because he felt, what is this now? Molefe is selling out. He's now siding with the missionaries who are not having the interest of the Africans at heart. Whereas, so Ubabu Bengu saw it from a socio-political angle. Molefe saw it from a ministerial angle to say, but well, they are here, they are building churches, they are lovely brothers, they are helping us. We
can work together.
We can work together. And I think that's where the differences came.
Okay.
And those differences, unfortunately, became quite sharp between the two of them. Though the Lord, by his grace, made them to reconcile later on, but things were no longer the same. It dented the ministry, the momentum and the impetus that Molefe had gained. Because remember, Molefe, though he had his people, everybody knew that Ubabu Bengu is the main guy on top. So they were all connected to Bengu. So when Molefe, looked like, the missionaries wanted him to move aside, which by the Molefe never followed the missionaries. He didn't start anything with the missionaries. He actually stood on his own. He became independent, even from the missionaries, just to make a point that says, I never followed the missionaries anyway, because he started Triple CI, and, there was another group that went with the missionaries, some of his sons, who went with the missionaries called the International Assemblies of God, which connected with the International Assemblies of God in that way. But Molefe was never part of the International Assemblies of God because he felt He didn't want it to look like this was the reason
Sure.
that broke everything, because he never had an issue with or without the missionaries.
Sure.
So I'm not going to work with them because that will make me take sides, you know. So he decided, let me pull out and let me be on my own. So it's important that we understand the difference. But unfortunately, it dented the work and he could no longer pick up momentum from that point onwards.